皆さんこんにちは。今回はですね、ネイティブといろんなトピックについてディスカッションをするシリーズ第2弾でございます。1回目の動画では哲学について話したんですけれども、今回のテーマは政治です。アメリカ人と日本人の政治に対する関心の違いとか、アメリカ大統領選とか東京都知事選について話しました。で、例えば英検の二次試験で使えるような表現とか意見とか具体例とかあると思いますので、ぜひ参考にしてください。で、今回のお相手はキャンブリーのバーニー先生です。で、先生に対談をお願いするときにいつも事前にメッセージを送ってるんですけど、今回も YouTube に出演してもらえませんかってメッセージを送ったらですね、なんとあなたのことを知ってるんですって言われました。なので今回の対談の初めにどうやって私のチャンネルのことを知ったんですかって聞いたんですけど、答えを聞いてなるほどと思いました。では早速対談を楽しんでください。どうぞ。Barney.
Hi, An. It's a pleasure
Hello.
to speak to you today.
Thank you very much. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, great to meet you.
Yeah, so it looks like I don't have to give much of a self-introduction because you know me.
Yes. Your material has been invaluable to me for speaking to people from Japan or people living in the United States, Japanese people going to university or working in the United States. So you and your compatriot Atsu are, I send a lot of material to people.
Wow.
So,
I'm flattered. Thank you so much. How did you come across my channel, by the way?
Well, it was in an Atsu video. He was, I think, one of your more famous videos of you were giving an exam to Atsu. Yes,
Yeah.
and so you've made my life much easier being a Cambly tutor. Yeah.
Well. It was a pleasant surprise. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So I've obviously watched your self-introduction video on Cambly, but would it be possible for you to give like a brief self-introduction for my viewers?
Oh, my name is Barney. I live in the state of Kansas, which is right in the center of the United States. My work background is that I grew up in a family trucking business, so I have a business background. My father and I started a fertilizer company, which did not go well. We had to close it down for about a year, so that was not a good situation. And then after that, for the last 30 years before I retired, I was in information technology as just a general IT worker.
Obviously, I can't speak on behalf of everyone in Japan, but generally speaking, I would say that most people are indifferent to politics. Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the voter turnout rates, they're usually around 50 to 60%. And among the younger generation, like people in their 20s, it's like 30 to 40%. So, based on those statistics, I think you can say that people aren't really interested, or maybe they just don't have much hope in their political representatives.
Yeah.
But people definitely aren't keen on like having political discussions, with their friends or in public. And I think it might be part of the reason might be because teachers in schools, they're not really encouraged to talk about politics. It's kind of like taboo. I think there are some like educational guidelines that tell teachers, to be very careful, to maintain neutrality if you have to speak about politics at all. So young people in Japan, they grow up without being exposed to much political discussion. And well, I'm certainly no political pundit myself, but I thought, it's probably quite important for people to at least be interested in it. And I was hoping I could like make a video that might make people interested in knowing more about politics. So that's the situation in Japan. But my image of America, well, America is a huge country. There's lots of states, but my image is that people are more open when it comes to talking about politics. So you live in Kansas. What was it like in Kansas? Like, are people very open about talking about politics?
I would say that people are maybe less open about talking about it, especially with, it can go all the way from family to coworkers to just meeting someone, casually in a restaurant or in a park. You have to be very careful now about talking about politics, because you're hearing an English word now that you usually hear in anthropology a lot in the news media, called tribalism. And it's like being partisan, but there's this nasty element to tribalism. And politics now has separated families. It's separated friends. People who've been friends a long time, if they're of different political views, no longer talk to each other.
Wow.
So it's everyone most everyone has the ideology of their party, but there are some clearer heads. I think that's what I'm hoping for, that the temperature goes down on political speech, where we can hear people talk about issues and how to resolve them, as opposed to just this scream fest at times, especially on the news media.
And speaking of the presidential election, there's been a lot of drama, hasn't there?
Yes.
So we've got Mr. Trump being, unfortunately, the first ever convicted felon, former president who is being convicted as a felon. And on the other hand, Mr. Biden, lots of people are concerned about his cognitive health. So what's the mood like in Kansas at the moment regarding the election?
Well, I would say the mood is very much about Biden's cognitive health. I think regardless of issues with Trump, I think many, let's say, Republicans would say, I don't believe in any of the ideals of the Democratic Party, but if I had a choice, and I don't mean like a lesser of two evils situation, but they would say, if I had a choice, I would at least want a Democrat in there who had all their cognitive faculties. So it's this is just my opinion. I feel that the Democratic Party is putting on a very brave face at the moment, and it has nothing to do with the decency of Biden as a man or as a father or his long public service. It's just that the office of the presidency requires vigor, it requires alertness, and it pushes everyone who's in the office. People who've been president, no matter what their age, they tend to age 3 times more rapidly than just a person, a regular person living, because of all the stress. So I think that's the biggest issue at the moment in my state, and I think in most states right now, which the polls are reflecting that.
Well, I just hope that everything turns out okay, because American politics influences Japan and also, of course, the rest of the world. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah. And I when you first contacted me about politics, I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I thought, well, couldn't this be about baseball? That might be a little more interesting. But I think for your students, because now this year they're hearing a lot of political news, that it's a good topic to cover, even though that it's very, I don't know. I wish it was like it was 20 years ago, but wishing isn't going to help. It's just more difficult. Yeah.
And actually, this weekend, I think, in Japan, or was it? Yeah, in a couple more days, the governor of Tokyo is going to be elected. So
okay.
Yeah, that's right. And there's actually been quite a lot of controversy regarding that too.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you've heard, but so you know how we have these, what are they called, like campaign boards? I'm not sure if they have them in America.
Yes, someone told me about that. Yes.
Yeah. and we have the posters of the candidates.
Uh-huh.
And there were some candidates who posted like really sexually explicit posters of themselves. And yeah, so people are saying, you know, what do they think this election is? You know, they're just making fun of it. So I don't know. I suppose maybe it was a good way to get a bit of attention so that young people notice. But yeah, I think maybe it was a little too extreme.
Yeah, I had one of my students tell me about that, and he was saying some posters had, come to my YouTube channel for a business proposition or whatever, and I thought, well, this is really strange, but the dark side of government is that no matter what country, you have politicians who are more interested in power and greed, and that's the dark side. I think, but you also have people in government who really want to do good, who want to solve problems. So both kind of sit side by side. There just needs more of a majority on the good side.
はい、いかがだったでしょうか。この動画はね、おそらく英検の二次対策として見てくれてる人が多いと思うんですけれども、きっとね、本番で使えるようなコロケーションとか意見とか具体例があったと思うので、ぜひ活用して、合格をつかんでください。で、今後もね、いろんなテーマについて、ディスカッションをしていこうと思いますので、ぜひお楽しみに。それでは、Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next lesson.